July 6th, 2022 to order. And just for the record, we'll be starting, geez, I'm sorry. And just for the record, we'll be starting this meeting at 7:25 instead of 7 o'clock. If we rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, it's the Mr. Stavosley show at this point.
Yes. We take a call roll for agenda meeting?
That's a, I don't, you might as well.
Okay.
Just say the quorum.
Mr. Seitz.
Roll
Here.
call.
Oh, Mr. Dern. Here. Mr. Doyle.
Here.
Mayor Schlegel.
Here.
Mr. Taylor.
Here.
Mr. Vento.
Here. Delaney. Mr. Delaney.
Ryan Delaney. Here. Let the record reflect that Mr. Hadley is not here. He is on vacation this week.
And we have a quorum, so you may
We
continue.
do have a quorum. First item under Planning and Economic Development, the Alvey subdivision. We did receive an application from the developer that was just in front of you. The parcel that they intend to build on right now spans, it's in Plum Boro and it's in Penn Hills. It's a simple subdivision lot line revision. So their plan is to divide that parcel, which is well over 200 acres, right along the municipal boundary. And at the same time, there's a lot line revision where they're going to pick up some property from the Temple Sinai property. Staff is recommending at this time that the application be accepted as complete.
Any discussion?
Dave, is Plum going to be the only township that's going to be doing all the work for that development?
The answer is no, and we'll get to that in item number 2.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we'll make that agenda.
Okay. Item number 2, discuss an intergovernmental agreement with Penn Hills. So, yes, we have been in communication with Penn Hills about this, and we're proposing, both municipalities are, an intergovernmental cooperative agreement that would allow Plum Boro to take the lead on this. So the MPC, the Municipalities Planning Code, section, I think it's 212, allows for these intergovernmental cooperative agreement where we will pass a resolution and sign the same agreement, basically saying that Plum Boro is going to guide this through approval and that Penn Hills will follow our recommendation.
Okay, question. What about police and fire?
Certainly, Penn Hills can provide comments on the plan. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I mean, if you're putting it in, if there's who gets the call to go up there if there's an issue, if it's on Penn Hill side or Plum side, or is Plum going to handle that? That's my question.
Right, so we're just talking about the actual subdivision, how it's reviewed.
All right, I'm
Right.
getting ahead of myself.
Right.
Any other discussion? Okay, agenda item.
Item number 3 is a conditional use approval for 470 Davidson Road. We heard testimony tonight about the conditional use request from SBA Incorporated, and staff is recommending that we move forward and put this on the agenda.
Discussion?
What about putting the fence in? Do we make that recommendation now before we accept it?
No, as part of the, so we're not accepting it, we're just moving it forward to, for approval next week. Staff will formulate a memo, and we'll come up with the recommendation for next week.
So then they can still say no to it?
Well, no, I mean, if council votes to have a fence as part of the conditional use, that's part of the requirement.
That's what I'm saying.
For
So
approval.
next week when we vote on it, if we want to have a fence in there, we have to have the fence in there as a conditional use.
As part of the motion, yes.
Okay. I'm
And
with Dave. I think we should have a fence.
We've done that before, just,
Yeah, I think we should have a fence.
approval based upon council's conditions,
Any other discussion? Okay, agenda item.
Item number 4, discuss a land development for 470 Davidson Road. This same plan here, SBA Incorporated, due to the paving of such a large area, the stormwater issues, the screening issues, lighting, photometric issues, those have triggered the land development review items. It is a very minor review, It's not a very large, land development like we see. So we're recommending that move forward to council's agenda.
Any discussion? All right, make an agenda item.
Personnel management, item number 5. The borough has received a letter from its benefits coordinator to provide cost of living benefits for 3 police officers.
Discussion? Okay, agenda item.
Item number 6 is an executive session item pertaining to providing conditional offers of employment to 2 police probationary officers. Item number 7, discuss Plum Boro Municipal Authority appointments. Last month, we had discussed the need to fill a hole on the Municipal Authority Board of Directors. I think there was an applicant, and there's an applicant in your packet. I'm unaware that we've received any other letters of interest for that, and we're looking to, vote on moving forward and providing another person for that board.
Yeah, I'll start the discussion if anybody else has any. I did have a conversation with Mike Thomas earlier today about this, and it was brought up at the last meeting to advertise. It was advertised. We had no other people apply or show any interest in it. And this one gentleman, James Sandella, he is a Plum resident. He's in the medical field. He comes recommended by Jim Rumbaugh and some others. He's very eager to get involved in Plum, so I think we should move along with this and make an agenda item. Is there any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll make an agenda item.
Okay, we move to public safety. Item number 8 is an executive session item dealing with new body cam and in-car camera systems for the police department.
Discussion.
It's just an executive session.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yep, my
Okay.
fault.
Yep.
Item number 9, discuss an amendment to the Plum Boro Civil Service regs. If you see in the manager's report, staff is recommending some minor amendments to the existing civil service rules and regulations, specifically to add a position of corporal to the command structure. This would take the place of the junior sergeant's position. The corporal position would report to the sergeant and be a stepping stone for the sergeant position. All we're asking right now is for the ability to advertise these issues. The actual proposed changes themselves will be discussed at the August or September meeting.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I have, who will decide who the corporal is? Will that come from
Testing.
the chief or what? Or is that just a, like a seniority thing as they progress through their past, patrolman? Is corporal the next step for everybody, or is it going to be based on, a recommendation?
I think it's based on the chief's recommendation.
Do they have to do a test, like, you hear, I don't know if we even do tests for sergeants, but some places do.
Oh, yeah,
We
Do
do
tests for
test for
corporal
sergeants.
too? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would assume there is. That's a good
Why don't
question.
we ask Lanny for some clarification on what his idea is for that?
Yeah, I have a question with that too, because right now, if a sergeant position opens up, any of the rank and file can apply for it, take the test and try to get it.
Not
Does
without
this-
having any prior notice,
Does this mean only the corporal has?
experience?
That's it. But, don't forget that collective bargaining agreement should be coming up shortly.
Right.
Within the next year or two, it's done, so
Okay,
obviously that ought to be modified.
okay, so we'll make this well, go ahead. Go ahead.
With some information from Lanny, if he can give us what his thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, I have no trouble with the
Right,
position.
right.
I think it's
But
good.
we need some clarification of what are the qualifications and how that's going to come to be.
Well, I just got a text, even though Mr. Thomas is on vacation, he's clearly listening to the cast. He says, texting here, that the corporal is a civil service position and it must be done via civil service. So, okay.
There you go.
Make this an agenda item?
Yeah, and remember, we're just asking the ability to advertise. We're not looking for approval for anything there.
Okay, agenda item.
So item number 10 is an executive session item to discuss a proposal to review borough fire services.
Discussion.
Item number 11, under finance, discuss amending the fee ordinance for solid waste and recycling. If you remember a few months ago, the staff had discussed with council at a meeting in the existing contract with county hauling, there was an adjuster for fuel. And that fuel adjustment is well over $100,000 per year based on the index that's reviewed for that. At the same time, in this new contract, we're taking on additional burden. We are providing now all of the recycling and garbage bins. Republic was providing recycling. We'd bought those purple bins previously. So we have advertised an ordinance, and we're asking council to consider an increase in the fee. Right now, the monthly fee for garbage is $21, and we're recommending an increase, an even dollar to $22 a month, and that will help us provide the revenue for the fuel surcharge that we're absorbing, as well as continue to provide monies for us to purchase bins for the residents. And just to give you an idea of the cost of these bins, we just recently ordered, you have to order in sets of 188, minimum. So if you want the blue cans, 188 large, 188 small. We spend well over $50,000, buying close to 600 or 700 bins. So it's not cheap. We need to save this money as we move forward, so we have it to continually replace the bins that are old. And we have, 5 to 10 new houses a month where we have to provide these. So this is a recommendation of staff. The ordinance has been advertised, and that the fee be increased from $21 a month to $22 a month per the ordinance.
Discussion. Okay, agenda item.
Roads and equipments and grounds. Item number 12, discuss a construction easement agreement with Consol Energy for the proposed water line. If you remember at last month's meeting, council voted to grant a permanent easement to Consol. They're doing a water line project from their facility on Old Mine Road, building a water line all the way down to the Allegheny River. The permanent easement that was granted is up on the hillside along the entrance to the Public Works facility and along Old Mine Road. This, what we're looking at this month, is a temporary easement. So as part of their construction, they need to have Duquesne Light get into their property, and the existing electrical service is right near our fence in the Public Works Department and the Consol property. So they're requesting a temporary easement that would allow them to get their electrical service moved into their property. They would, per the agreement, replace anything that's damaged. And they have agreed that any work would only take place during the work hours where our borough crews are there. So they're not going to have unlimited access in and out of our facility. So staff is recommending that we move forward with that temporary easement.
Any discussion? Okay, we'll make an agenda item.
Item number 13, change order to the contract for the Malabar Bridge project. The Malabar Bridge project is coming finally to a close. With that, we have paving that needs to be done and some additional guardrails that need to be done. So there are 2 change orders that need to be approved by council. And the paving, and give me 1 second here, I apologize. Change order number 1 for the road paving is approximately $40,000. And that would provide new paving on the bridge, as well as an overlay from the bridge down to Pine Valley. Change order number 2 is for the installation of new guardrail. And I cannot find that in front of me, Charlie. How much was that approximately? $8,000. And really, those are the last 2 items that need to be done before this bridge reopens. Unfortunately, we had talked about with a contractor to come in there and pave that. We were hoping they would be in there this week. Unfortunately, they were not. They had some equipment breakdowns. They're telling us now that they'll be in there maybe at the end of this week to start the stone base, but definitely next week to start the paving.
Any discussion? Okay, agenda item.
The last item, item number 14, a change order to the contract for the paving on Davidson Road. We went out to bid for our roads back in January. At that time, we had sent notices to gas company, cable company, the authority, telling them that we were going to do this work and asking them, if there was anything going on that they were going to be working on. We did not hear back from them until the last few months. Talking with KU Resources, we understand that the municipal authority is planning on water line replacement on Davidson Road, and Peoples Gas is also proposing work to bring this gas line up Davidson Road and turn into the housing plan that we heard about before. So staff is recommending that we put off the work on Davidson Road, which was mainly shoulder repair work, for another year, just so that we're not building something that's going to be immediately torn apart by two other utilities. So with that, we would receive a credit of approximately $67,000, Charlie? Yeah.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, agenda item. That brings us to the end of the agenda, but obviously, we never add on here an extra one for public comment. Obviously, there's a lot of people here this evening, and we'll open up the floor. Who would like to go first? Am I assuming everybody's here for the same issue, or are there several issues? She's the leader? Okay, great.
Not quite sure how that happened, but here we are.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. So, hello everybody. My name is Erin Messenger Uhaschek. I live at 4649 Sardis Road. I was here with a few other people in August of last year to request the update to the chicken ordinance. As far as that goes, the current one says you need 2 acres. This is quite excessive at the least, given that chickens need 10 to 13 square feet of combined coop and run space. So looking at this, all of our neighboring communities that allow backyard chickens have a significantly less land requirement. Currently, City of Pittsburgh, 2,000 square feet. We have 43.5 times that land requirement, and they have 5 times the population density per square mile. So looking at this, I am once again asking you all to consider changing the ordinance. We were partway there in the fall, and maybe it was my fault for getting wrapped up in the holidays and the new year and all of that, but September last year, council agrees to the ordinance needing updated and discusses changing the ordinance. In October of last year, you guys continue talking about updating the ordinance. November 1st, we've actually started talking about making appropriate zoning ordinance changes to get this finished. At that point, no one talks to me anymore. I've tried to be very patient and respectful for this. Beginning in January, I started using the Plum contact page through the website with most of you, and not a single person has gotten back to me. Most recently, June 16th. So here I am today. Once again, I am asking that you reduce the land requirements. If you need a refresher or want to have a different conversation with me, I'm open to it, but our recording segment from August 9th of last year on the recording is 38 minutes and 42 seconds, all the way through 47 minutes and 47 seconds if you need a refresher on the benefits of backyard chickens. That being said, can we please pick up where we left off in November of last year and get this finished? It is very beneficial to the community, not only for self-sufficiency, but also for controlling pests. They eat ticks, spiders. I don't know if anyone is particularly into gardening or the environment, but they also eat the spotted lanternfly, which is killing trees and is an invasive species that is now in Pennsylvania. So.
If I'd like to address that, if I could.
Sure.
I lived, born and raised in Plum, worked on a farm all my life up the road from me, next door to Melvin Miller's farm, and I have no issue with chickens. The issue I have is, as you can see tonight in our earlier meeting, we have newer housing developments coming in. These houses are going to be a lot closer and a lot tighter. We have Holiday Park, we have Regency Park, we have Renton. I spoke to a good friend of mine who has chickens and sells eggs. And I asked her, she has 12 acres, and I says, do you find any pests coming around because you've had chickens? She goes, I've had to get 12 cats because of the mice and the rats.
How many chickens does she have?
I don't know. But my only concern about the chickens is if you're right next to my house and you like chickens, and I don't have an issue with that, then I have to deal with them rats too. So that's where I'm on the fence with this.
So, and I do understand that. A lot of the chicken rat situation that you're talking about comes down to husbandry issues. I don't think anyone, even if you think in terms of your like pet dog, if anyone's an animal person, cats, you don't go into adopting an animal with the intent of neglecting them, not keeping up with care. And you do need to clean a chicken coop. You do need to properly store food. If you are not properly storing food, yes, there is an incentive there, but it should be dealt with appropriately. And I'm not proposing anyone have like 75 chickens on Holiday Park Drive, okay? I'm talking like maybe 4. They are flock animals. You do at least need 2.
Now, with 2 chickens, are you gonna get eggs? I mean,
Yes.
I don't know much about this.
So roosters are not needed.
Right.
The hens lay eggs regardless,
Okay.
usually about 1 a day, depending on the breed. So I don't know how many eggs you eat or how many people you're trying to feed in your family, but if you have 2 chickens, for example, you should get between 10 and 14 eggs a week.
So you're proposing to use these for your own use, not
Yes.
for sale,
I'm not
correct?
trying to sell
Right.
anything. I just want chickens.
I just want to make that clear. I understand that.
This
but
is
I
a
just
nonprofit situation.
want to make sure everybody did.
So these other ordinances that you've presented before, sorry, I wasn't on council back in last August when you did this. So was there a limit on the number of chickens that you could have in a backyard?
When we spoke in August, I was simply looking for interest in working to change this. Like I said, I am all for coming up with better rules than 2 acres, because I'm pretty sure, I don't know about everybody, but I have a feeling most of us don't have 2 acres. But even just looking at our neighboring communities, which I submitted this paperwork last time, and I'm happy to make copies or submit it again. But like I said, City of Pittsburgh, no more than 5 hens, no roosters, 2,000 square feet. That's super tiny, that's close together. I'm seeing where that is for like our closer communities here, for our closer housing plans. But looking at even Penn Hills, no more than 4 hens. It's a $50 one-time application fee that might knock off your garbage can budget situation. Just kidding. Looking at the rest of that, most places around us, 4 or less hens, and there is a distance requirement to neighboring buildings that are not yours. So looking at Monroeville, you can have 2 as pets with no permit. If you want more than 2, you need to seek a permit, and your coop must be at least 200 feet away from any occupied residential building that you do not own.
See, I think that creates the problem, the coop,
How so?
200 feet from an occupied building.
That you do not own.
Right. So if you're in Holiday Park and you want to have chickens, and you only have a small yard, you can't have that 200 feet buffer from
I
your neighbor's
understand that,
house.
and I'm not saying we copy and paste from Monroeville, but I'm just
Well,
saying there are.
I'm curious, I think the city of Pittsburgh is 300 feet with their coop.
they-
I know that they have the 2,000 square feet, but I
Mm-hmm.
think their coop requirement is 300 feet from,
I
from
am
an
not sure
existing
how you
home.
get 300 square feet when you only have a
no,
2,000
yeah,
square foot
well,
lot.
I think that was in their ordinance, I'll have to look at it again.
I probably
Because it
have
was
a
a while
copy.
ago
Hang
before I
on a
looked at
second.
it.
Up to 5 chickens or ducks permitted within a lot minimum size 2,000 square feet. An additional duck is permitted with each additional 1,000 square feet. Exactly 2 miniature goats, if you want to go that route, are also permitted up to 10,000 square feet.
Let's just keep it to chickens. That's okay.
We're opening another whole
wanna
can
go
of worms
look at
here.
that. I'm talking like a handful. Oh my goodness, we could talk to the zoo about that. But looking at all of this, once again, that's an application fee. All of this, $75 application fee. And there does not have anything listed on their specific page about distance from properties that you don't own.
No, I can't
But
find.
we can look it up again.
Yeah, I was trying to look it up as well. I can't find it either. But I think that's where, trying to, like your point, Skip, with the newer plants that aren't built, for chicken coops. I think that's why we try to find a way to smaller the lot size, but make sure there is buffers between other people's houses.
Right, you have to make it
Because,
good for everybody, not
You know,
just
trying to
for-
find a balance so people that do have the space can have the chickens.
Again, I'm not
But,
against it. I
You know, we're
just,
still avoiding the ones in the newer
We need
housing
to find a way to
plans.
make
we
it
have
fit.
ordinances for cutting your grass, you know, and like you said, if you, it's about maintenance, but you might maintain yours perfectly, but the guy two doors down might not do his job, and then now we have
And
issues.
then you get into a enforcement issue. Who's gonna do that? Not our policemen. They're not gonna do it.
In
I
my
can't blame
opinion,
them.
that kind of becomes an animal neglect issue if you're not
Okay, we
taking
don't
care
have,
of
we
your
don't have an animal
animals.
control officer.
I
We-
understand that,
We
but
pay, so if we had to add that service to his contract, it would greatly increase. It's a cost thing. It's not more than anybody liking or disliking chickens. It's what we know and what our staff has also told us about the additional costs of having this included. You know, and that's what we're trying, and what we do honor your requests, and we're trying to make that fit, is what is the easiest way I can say that.
this is the most communication I've had since November. I appreciate
I'll
this.
tell you the
Okay.
truth, I've never seen did you do it with the Borough Connect? or-
Through the Borough Community Contact Council page.
Oh, online,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
We got
You know,
an
to go to
email
Borough
a few weeks
Connect.
ago, right?
There was an email about it that came through, Dave.
Oh,
Okay, so it's
There
been
was.
addressed.
So I have another question. So
Sure, sorry.
on
I
your
don't look
petition
on me.
from back in August, you had
Yes.
391 signatures or something. So
Yes.
do you have an idea of how many people in Plum have backyard chickens now, or
I-
would have them if they had an ordinance, or have them illegally? Any idea?
I
I'm
know there are
curious.
definitely people that have illegal chickens, but I am not going to further
Ah,
that.
okay.
You can submit their addresses on the way out.
I'm just trying to find out how much interest there really is, and
There is
obviously
an
all the people here are
interest.
interested, but that's
And I do
20-some people.
I do understand the concern that you think by passing this, everyone and their mother is gonna go get a chicken. However, not every single individual residence has a dog, not every individual residence has cats. We have a handful of farms in the community that do have chickens, but as you said, they have 10, 12, however many acres. So as far as your residential backyard chickens, we need to figure out maybe a max number of like 4 or 5, work through some of that and figure out what's going to work to make that accessible for those that want to, without making it this gigantic thing, because quite honestly, they're chickens.
and then you get into the coop issue. Do we have to include the construction of the coop in our, because.
Tractor
if-
Supply has
if
very
you-
nice prefabbed ones.
Okay, but you know that. But a lot of people aren't gonna go to Tractor Supply. They're gonna nail together a couple pallets and make that their chicken coop. And that's not what we want in our community, so there's a problem. Exactly,
no.
but
Excuse me, sir.
you have to come to the microphone.
You're
please.
more than welcome to come up and talk one at a time. Thank you.
But, we're just trying to work through some things as to how we get all this done. I know it sounds like a bunch of runaround to a lot of people, but it really isn't.
I mean, I think 2 acres is excessive. I agree with that. But I also don't think it's fair to the people who live just next door to somebody. So maybe we need to work on, if we're gonna do this, an acre lot at least, so that you have some buffer zone, some
That's
distance
still a
between you and your
very-
neighbor,
It's still a very large,
But it's a
land
lot smaller
requirement.
than 2 acres.
it is.
Let me
but-
just ask a question, just
Sure.
for informational purposes.
Sure.
Do you, and I don't expect you to be able to spout this right off, just give me a guesstimate. Do you know how many residents, I'm assuming everybody here that came with you tonight has chickens? Oh, but you want chickens? Okay, I was looking for who has them and how many people want. Like, is this the extent of the people that?
No.
Okay, okay.
I just want the right to own chickens on my home, on my land that I pay taxes for. It's a right we should have, and it should be looked at further.
Okay, well, I tell you what, I'm going to apologize to you right now for having this go on the back burner since November. It is now on the front burner. I want to commend you. You come very prepared, you're very eloquent, and you know your stuff. And so well done.
Thank you.
But I think this is something that, how about if I tell you this? We'll have an answer for you in the next month or two about this.
Okay.
We'll discuss it, and we'll see. We'll look into this a little further. And I can't make any promises, but we'll be diligent with it and get this moving forward.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. One second. Sir, did you want to say anything, or you can come on up?
Hi, my name's Tom Messenger. I'm her father.
Oh,
I was hearing what you folks were saying, listening to what she was saying, and it sounds like might it help a little bit if she put together some kind of a proposal package for how much land requirement, how many chickens, that type of thing, rather than you guys going, well, do you want to deal with the chickens, Bill? Nah, not today, George, you do it.
No,
Would that help?
truthfully, council won't do any of that work. It'll be the staff that has to do that.
Oh, I'm sorry, staff. Would that help?
I'm okay with the 4. But, I mean, I still have questions like Skip does.
Yeah.
You know, if my next door neighbor comes home and he puts 4 chickens in his backyard, but, hold on, the enforcement issue is where I'm hung up on, okay? So, yeah, she's very responsible. She goes and buys a nice chicken coop. My next door neighbor, he has 4, and 3 months down the road, he decides, you know what, this is way too much, and he just sort of lets it sort of go to pot.
Yep.
So now I've got the issue with everybody else. So the enforcement, I'm not going to expect one of our police officers to come up and knock on your
That
door.
wouldn't be reasonable.
Because we have multiple issues in this borough from people not doing things, grass, cars, parking in their
proper
front
way.
yard, that it's unenforceable, and they just continue to do it, and their neighbors pay the price. So that's where my issue's coming into, is, you know, and that's something we've discussed since October with the enforcement, and honestly, we haven't come up with a idea of who's going to enforce it to keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
So that's sort of where the hang-up has been in the time frame since we've discussed it. You know, we did put something together, the staff put it together, and the number 4 was good, but it came down to the enforcement when someone doesn't follow the rules, because everyone knows there's
You
always
always
gonna
have
be those
10%
people
that
that
aren't
don't
doing it.
follow the rules.
Yep.
And they're gonna be the people that put the bad Jew on why we can't have chickens, or why you can't have your RV parked in your front yard and your neighbor has to look at it every day.
And I'm dealing with an issue, and the borough is dealing with an issue. We do not have anything limiting the number of dogs and cats you can have where other municipalities have them. So consequently, we're dealing with an issue where a person has over 40 cats in the house. Okay, the neighbors are complaining because of the stench. They can't sit out during the summer because of the stench. I brought up many years ago about let's limit the number, but we don't have an ordinance to that. And we're not gonna have our police go out and enforce it. We've been trying to do this thing for 5 years now.
I see
And
where
I'm
you're
not saying you people aren't gonna be responsible, but all of a sudden, these people wanted 1 cat, now they have over 40 cats. What can I tell you?
As councilmen, I can speak for all of us, I feel that we don't want to make a decision now that, as an example, as many people as yins are here today in favor of chickens, if we vote yes on this, and I'm not saying I'm all for it, but I just want to make sure that if we vote yes on this, and all these people get chickens, this place will be packed with other people here bitching about us voting yes on that, you know, so I want to make this fit somehow,
Well,
you know.
it has to fit by quantity of land. You can't
Right,
go
right.
everybody with a third of an acre, go have yourself a chicken fest.
Right.
But 2 acres, we agree, is a little too much.
Yeah.
So somewhere between A and B.
And we did look at, you know, size-wise, and you talk about the city of Pittsburgh ordinance of 2,000 square feet. So if you move to that, every property in Plum Boro can have chickens. Now, we looked at 1 acre and how that would change the numbers, and really it doesn't. You know, less than 100, you know, if you have 1 acre, you have 2 acres for the most part. So there's not a big change even going to 1 acre. So, I mean, you're looking at going below 1 acre if you want to make a significant change on who can have chickens.
So Dave, to address his question, so he wanted to know if we wanted to have her prepare something, you know, some guide or ordinance of what they'd like to see over these various different issues. And Paul said that you already did this. So
Right.
I don't know, I wasn't here. Did you already do this? Because I haven't seen it.
Well, Mike come up with a lot of different proposals
we have different
from looking at other.
That's why I'm suggesting we have
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
discussion.
Mike has
So
this stuff,
You and
so-
Skip
Okay.
get brought up to speed, and you know, we can come to some sort of consensus.
Hi.
Yes, ma'am.
My name's Angela Tomanio. I no longer live for Plum, but I am speaking on behalf of my parents who live in Regency on Anderson Avenue. And I also lived in Bloomfield, which is the city of Pittsburgh. There is no, answering your question, there is no amount of space. And if you want the document, I can have Aaron send it to you from December of 2019 is their current ordinance of that. Looking in, I believe it's Coral Street, and they are right there by the sidewalk, and they are right by their neighbor's house. We also have goats there too, which is awesome. But, so speaking on that, there is no property amount from your neighbor because our neighbors and our yards are super close in Bloomfield. When we were doing the petition and walking around Regency Park and all the other places, yes, you do have that thing of yes and no, and you're gonna tick off some people. Guess what? Welcome to education, because I'm a teacher, she's a teacher, she's a teacher. We piss off people all the time. But the fact that you have this
Bless you.
economic status where we're going and there's grocery stores that don't have eggs, you are allowing these people, even if you take it a little bit below, you're gonna piss off somebody, unfortunately. But what I wanted to say was that with Mr. Derns is that there is no property amount. Yes, they're getting smaller in Plum, and from what we overheard is you guys are packing these places with houses, and that's up to you, and that is on you, and then packing our schools that we don't have the area for, which I was here for that when I lived here. But I wanted to bring that to your knowledge, that there are other places, there are other ways of doing this, but to look at it an economic status of people that want it, like them and the people that I talked to. There's a handful on Anderson that want it, and there were a lot that didn't want it, but they were okay with their neighbors getting that permission. So maybe it is a borough thing that we need to talk about and bring it up. And yes, you're gonna hear from both sides, and then you're gonna have to make your decision. But we pay you, well, I don't pay you anymore, sorry about that.
Actually, we don't get paid.
Okay, well, you're elected, you are elected by us, let me put it that way.
That's
You are
true.
elected by them, no longer me, to make those decisions. And, you know, when we were walking around and participating and getting this petition, we heard yays and nays and worries and things like that. And maybe you as a council need to hear those as well to make your decision and have it open up and have it on the record, more so than just her putting it out here all the time for us to come up here. But like I said, I wanted to come up as a person that lived in Bloomfield and saw those chickens on a daily basis. And like I said, we can give you the ordinance of December of 2019 if you would like that in whatever she sends you as an updated document as well, just to consult and see what they do. So.
Thank you. And just for the record, I just want to correct it. We get $25 a month before taxes. So I just want to let you know that. The mayor gets a lot more. The mayor gets double that.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But, no, I just want to thank you for coming and getting this back out in front. We will be discussing this. We'll be getting the new councilmen that have just got on board up to speed, and we'll be in touch. Okay? Anything else? Okay, thanks for coming, and we are adjourned. Actually, correction. We are going to, adjourn for executive session.